dit Mademoiselle, and ça c'est deuxième Chanel Noir. Happy Valentine's Day, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying it. And if you're not, here's something to cleanse your palate. Jeudi, nous allons parler des fêtes Valentine. We're going to be talking about Valentine's Day. Now, this year, I promised myself that I would do a video on the pagan roots of every single holiday. If you guys are not aware, because you haven't seen my lovely face before, first of all, subscribe. Second of all, you would know or not know that Halloween is actually my favorite holiday. I absolutely love it. I love dressing up. I love the candy. I love the gore. I love it all, okay? But it grinds my gears that people are always so hypocritical about Halloween. They're always like, oh, you should not celebrate Halloween. It's pagan. It's demonic. But nobody ever looks at the other holidays and how pagan and demonic and problematic they once were. Today, none of these holidays are demonic in nature. However, if we want to hold Halloween to such a demonic standard, I want us to hold that same energy for every single holiday. Like the Jehovah's Witnesses, okay? They don't celebrate anything. They don't even celebrate their own birthday. So I feel like if you're not gonna celebrate Halloween because it's demonic, make sure you do your research. So for today's video, I want you guys to grab your tea, grab your snacks, grab everything you need, because this one's gonna be quite interesting. Now, Valentine's Day is actually one of my favorite holidays as well. Whether I'm single, taken, whatever the case may be, I love me some Valentine's Day, okay? I've been in a committed relationship for over 3 years, and my man always goes all out for Valentine's Day. So I love me some Valentine's Day. Even when I was single, I've always done something for myself on Valentine's Day. Like, I just love love. I love the aspect of like couples being all lovey-dovey together. Like, I've never been a hater, okay? And as a Catholic person, we celebrate everything for the most part. And there's always some sort of story that they tell us as Catholics, Christians, or whatever. They always try to tell us, oh, you know, God this, a saint this, I always wanted to look further into Valentine's Day because personally, I never heard any Christian, Catholic type of connections to Valentine's Day. And sometimes when you look on the surface level of Valentine's Day, you'll find, oh, well, Valentine's Day is named after Saint Anne. They were a martyr, period. I don't like that story. It sounds a little basic. So I had my assistant do some research. Did you get your tea and your snacks yet? All right, let us commence. So before we get into it, understand, I can't say shit right. There's a lot of things in Haitian Creole I can't say right. So I apologize in advance. I'm sorry. So the earliest known roots of Valentine's Day actually date back to a centuries old tradition called Lupercalia. It's right here on the screen just in case I didn't say it right. Now, get this. Lupercalia was a holiday to celebrate fertility. Sounds all good and dandy until you get into the details of this celebration. Now, you had boys and young men that would essentially sacrifice goats and dogs, and they would strip the skin off of these goats and dogs and take that skin and whip naked young women on the streets with the skin. You heard that right. This was that celebration. Yes, like they would go around slapping women with it to promote the fertility of the woman. And they believed every woman that they slapped with this skin would be more fertile. Okay, if they got slapped with the skin of the dog or the goat, or that woman that were already pregnant would be blessed with an easy birth. Does it sound barbaric? Absolutely, because back in the day, times were different and that was very normal for them. But what's interesting is this was a tradition that was celebrated years, okay? I'm talking about like thousands of years after Christianity was still a thing. Like, it wasn't stopped after people had, you know, found Jesus Christ. It was still a thing. In fact, over 150 years after Christianity, it was still celebrated. And it was a major festival on the Roman calendar. So, I mean, I don't know. It's crazy because a lot of other things were outdated, but Lupercalia, it was go. It was all go. I would love to know how the woman of this time felt about that. Maybe it was normal, maybe it was not. Now, this festival was also held in honor of gods, hopefully I say this right, Janus and Lupercus, who were gods of agriculture and fertility, and also the mythical founders of Rome, Romulus and Remus. Funny enough, my last name is Romelus, with some people that have the last name Romulus and Romulus with a U and an I that are related to me, and I've always wondered, like, do I have ancestors that date back to Rome, or were my family's like great ancestors brought from there, or like did they just work on a plantation that just happened to be Roman? Like, I always wanted to know, because like that is not a common Haitian last name. But anyway, so you guys are probably wondering, okay, so where do the colors, the red, the pink, the white come from? So we all know the story of Romulus and Remus. If you don't, Google it, because we're not even gonna go down that avenue. However, it is said that Lupercus, okay, also known as Lupercalia, gathered at the Lupercalia cave. This is said to be where Romulus and Remus were said to be cared for by a she-wolf as babies. Again, you guys have to look into the story to get that part, but nonetheless, that's where they were. And basically, this cave is at the bottom of the Palatine Hill, and this is exactly where the brothers were said to have founded Rome. So Lupercus is a god of shepherds, and while in this cave, he essentially sacrificed a dog and 2 goats. The dog to represent purification, and the 2 goats were also sacrificed to represent fertility. Now, the knife that was used to sacrifice the goat and the dog was cleaned off with a piece of milk-soaked wool, and essentially historians have put together that all of that, the red and the pink from the blood on the wool, which is white, all comes together to represent the colors of Valentine's Day. And even nastier, allegedly, Lupercalia ran through the streets naked with this blood-soaked wool thing and slapped women with it, again blessing the woman. Again, maybe the women were happy about this, maybe they weren't, but of course they never give a fuck about what women think, because women's opinions are never in these stories. Okay, so that's some interesting thing. We never find out how women feel about anything. Their grands make gears. It's very sad. Now, another custom a lot of us will definitely recognize about Valentine's Day is pairing, okay? Love, okay? Where does that come from? Now, Lupercalia was also about mating and matchmaking, Cupid, we shall say, right? So another really popular thing was basically pairing people together back then. What they used to do back then was they would get pieces of paper and they would write girls in the neighborhood's names on them, and they would put them in a jar of sorts, and boys would pick those names out of a jar, and they would be coupled up for the duration of Lupercalia. And it actually worked. Some people went on to get married, fall in love, all of that, have kids. Listen, to be honest, I think, well, even though Valentine's Day is supposed to be about love and all of that, and most people are already coupled up and we ask each other to be each other's Valentines and stuff like that, I think that the jar thing is genius. Like, I'm like, oh my god, why don't we still do that? Like, it's kind of like Secret Santa, but like for Valentine. Like, what? You just pick a girl name, you're like, hey yo, like, you my Lupercalia. I don't think that works, but you guys understand. So it was something that was very, very common back then. That's how a lot of people got together. You know, a lot of people couldn't wait for Lupercalia because they was like, listen, I don't need to find a bride, I don't need to find a husband, I'm gonna wait for Lupercalia. Like, I mean, it worked though. It definitely worked. So, you know, if you were having fertility issues, you would wait for the Lupercalia. If you were waiting for a husband, you wait for Lupercalia. Very interesting. Now, as many of you guys know or don't know, as Christianity started to sweep the globe, many traditions that were pagan became adapted into Christianity. Now, you guys are gonna see a very, very common theme with this, as I've done at least a couple of paganish videos. Christians are not original with any of their holidays, okay? A lot of things that they have adapted are not theirs, and anything that they do have that is theirs, I kid you not, there is some sort of tradition, some sort of history that dates back to something that is just not theirs. And most of it was an effort to get people to convert, but a lot of it is just the fact that they really just couldn't think of anything better to do, and people were already doing it, and it was more of a can't beat them, join it. We don't want them doing that pagan shit in the church, so we're just gonna do our version, but better, holier, and honoring the Lord. Okay, so you guys are probably wondering, okay, so where does the Valentine's Day thing come from? Well, nobody knows, for real, for sure. So in the beginning of this video, I said if you look up Valentine's Day, you're gonna get the short, sweet version of the answer. But the short, sweet version of the answer is not the truth, okay? The short, sweet version of the answer is, oh well, they martyred Valentine, so now we have Saint Valentine's Day, and yeah. But the truth is, there is actually over 10,000 people that were martyred with the name Valentine or Valentina around the time that Valentine's Day was established or having been celebrated in some similar fashion, right? And on top of that, the two that would have been commemorated around the time, which is around 469 AD to 269 AD, around that time, literally those two people have absolutely nothing to do with Valentine's Day. Now you guys are like, okay, so what exactly is Valentine's Day about? Now literally just from the pagan holiday I described to what we celebrate today, Valentine's Day is all about love. It's about togetherness, it's about relationships, it's about fertility, of course, right? These two saints that I'm going to tell you guys about have nothing to do with that, okay? So if you guys are not aware, when it comes to sainthood and it comes to the Catholic religion, it's a very complex thing. To be a saint, okay, to be canonized as a saint is the word that be used for that. I'm Catholic, hello, if you didn't know. To be canonized as a saint, you have to be an extraordinary human. It's not about just doing amazing things in life, being a great person and being a nice person. Essentially, especially back in the day, you had to be out here creating miracles or being killed for your faith in an extreme fashion to be a saint, okay? So we're gonna go into the first one. The true Valentine's Day that we celebrate today didn't come for another couple thousands of years. So crazy enough, both of these people I'm about to tell you about literally died around February 14th, which is the day that we celebrate Valentine's Day, ironically. It could be either one, but again, none of their deaths have anything to do with Valentine's Day. Okay, so first one was, again, someone named Valentine. I could not find a person's first name. I could not find, whatever. But it was a priest, so we're just gonna call this person Priest Valentine, okay? Père Valentine. Okay, now Père Valentine was living in an era where it was not popular to be a priest. It was not popular to be Christian. It was not popular to be Catholic, okay? So the administration, the emperor, the king, or whatever the case at the time, was forcing him to be pagan. And he would not do so. He was like, I will not be pagan. I am Catholic and there is nothing you can do about it. And when that was happening, they were basically threatening to execute him. So because of this, they arrested him and they put him in a house, like they put him in some sort of house arrest, and they were challenging his faith. And he was also proclaiming to have special power by his God, okay, by God himself. They were like, man, you can't do nothing, okay? You can't do shit. You feel me? Like, you're not about nothing. So he was like, all right, well, who do you have here that needs healing? And there was a blind girl there, and he was like, I can make this girl see. My God will give me the power to make this girl see. Lo and behold, he made the blind girl see. You don't think that saved his ass? Nope. They still executed him. And yeah, there's the story. Nothing to do with love, nothing to do with Valentine's Day that we know today. Just a very unfortunate story and a very similar story for a lot of canonized saints at the time. On a bright note though, that whole house that he was in, as well as the young blind girl, did convert. So I mean, he ain't dying in vain. So next one was another priest. We have Bishop of Tourney Valentine. I never knew how you call a bishop properly. Bishop Valentine of Tourney. I think that's how it would be. Okay, so we had a bishop, he was Catholic, of Tourney. Y'all get the point. So he was another one, very similar. Back in the pagan times, they was telling him, sir, you better be pagan. He was like, no, I ain't gonna be pagan, and I had the power. If you want me to prove to you that my God is real, I can prove to you that my God is real. And it was like, ha 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 ha, we don't want to hear your shit, we gonna throw you in the dungeon. But in this case, he kind of had a little bit of something working for him. Now, Bishop of Tourney was known for miracles, okay? Like, he was known around to heal people. And there was a scholar who had a son who had disabilities, and this was his specialty. He was known to like make people walk that couldn't walk and all types of things. So he was like, you know what, heal this boy. And he spent all day, all night praying, okay? That's how he healed people, you know? Some people, when it came to being canonized as saints, I'll probably do a whole video on this, and I kid you not, this is probably the only thing that keeps me from converting. The saint thing and the whole idea of like people dying as saints, like certain saints dying and like never decomposing, like looking like they never died. There's something about that. There's something about that. Like, that is God. God exists. That's why I'll never say God don't exist, because no, he exists. Because for you to die and look exactly the way you look, the same way, the child, with no mummification, no nothing, like there's something to be said about that, okay? So anyways, that I'll probably make a whole video about that, like saints, and then like the what is that word? that process, y'all know what I'm talking about. But anyways, so essentially he prayed all day, prayed all night, and the child had no more disabilities. Okay, the next day the child was fine. The child was walking, the child was talking. Before, he could not walk, he could not talk. Like, the child could not even like lay down straight properly on his own. So you would think, again, it would help his case. Oh no, this just infuriated emperor at the time. Did not work out in his favor. He was arrested for this miracle and all the other miracles he had committed. He was, of course, confronted the aspect of converting to paganism. He refused and was executed. Now, what's very interesting, right? A lot of people always have this whole idea of, oh, why is it that Christians get to walk around and slam Bibles in people's faces? Meanwhile, other people did it too. Because I just told you 2 stories where 2 people were executed for saying that they were going to be Christian. So it was everybody doing it, but Christians did it a lot more and a lot more louder and wrote about it. And yeah, so it happened a lot more times with the Christians and the Catholics and stuff like that. But pagans was definitely killing people in the name of paganism too. And when we say pagan, pagan is a very wide range of different things. It's not just pagan, okay? There's different religions that fall under paganism, or belief systems that fall under paganism. So just to let you guys know. So sadly, that one, he was beheaded, okay? So sad. However, his beheading was not in vain as well. That whole boy's family, as well as visiting scholars, also converted to Christianity. So not totally in vain. You guys are probably like, wait, so 2 people that died around the time where Valentine's Day was established, celebrated, etc. have nothing to do with Valentine's Day. You are absolutely correct. I don't understand it either. Shakespeare has a really big influence on why Valentine's Day is the way it is today, mainly because of his poetry and his works. A lot of people think it has a lot to do with nature, because like Valentine's Day is around the time when the birds start to mate and things like that. You know, a lot of the poets at the time and things like that would write about the birds mating and love being in the air. So a lot of that goes back to that as well. So it's like it's a mixture of everything. It does date back to the pagan roots of Lupercalia. So before we start to cast our stones and talk our shit about pagan holidays, just understand that if we're gonna talk shit about one holiday, we should look into all the holidays that we celebrate. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoy your Valentine's Day. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, and do all that. And make sure you come back here for Easter, because I can't wait to see the pagan roots of that one. Can't you? Keep the description box for everything that you guys consistently ask me about down below. Check out my other 2 channels. My main channel deals with rants, reactions, and commentary based on Black social issues. And my personal channel has vlogs, advice videos, personal live streams, things like that. So yeah, make sure you guys check out for my new song. Y'all like that intro? Y'all like that intro? Follow me on Instagram. Bye y'all.